Hello, everyone, and welcome to my show, Let's Talk About It with SABIA KHATUN. Today, we are going to look at an important aspect that has been going on for the last few days. But before I do that, I really hope that everyone's been keeping safe and well, and hoping that you are making the most of, whether you're going back to school or back to work, and maintaining the safety guidelines. Right. So women have been celebrating the International Women's Day. But how will you forge justice, dignity, and hope? Are we in a gender equal world? How will you raise awareness against all that seems lost? And what actions will you take for equality? Who is your role model? And what do you think about some of the current affairs that is happening around us? And, whether they are offenders or predatory offenders. How will we inspire, empower, and who will be our inspiration and empowerment? I'd like to take you over to a lovely line of guests I have today with me. And they range from all backgrounds. I do have guests who have come from joining from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and our UK here. So I'd like to take you over to Temi, and her surname is Shogelola. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. She's an assistant director for economic shocks. I will tell you a bit more about Temi in a while, but what I would like Temi to do is I'd like to welcome Temi on my show, and also I would like Temi to tell us a bit about her understanding about what is this International Women's Day about. And I believe this year it's about choose to challenge. So welcome, Temi.
Thanks, SABIA, and thanks for having me this evening. International Women's Day for me is just a chance to recognise and celebrate women, women from the past, women are presently doing incredible work no matter where their field of work is, and spotlight for younger generation of girls and women who, for them to showcase and say, you've got role models no matter what sector you are, no matter where you are in the world. There are incredible women who are choosing to challenge, really. And it's just, it's a chance for us to celebrate, like truly celebrate women in all their glory, really.
Brilliant. Thank you for that little introduction. I'd like to introduce everyone to the rest of my panel of guests here who have kindly joined me. I have wonderful Ambrose, who's been on my show before, who's a musician, songwriter, and a singer, and who I'd like to welcome her again, and she will give us a little entertainment later on, for us all and our viewers. So welcome, Ambrose.
Hiya.
Brilliant to have you, Ace. We will come back to you. I'd like to take you over to Aisha Khan, who's a beautiful mother and an entrepreneur. You can't say you can't do both at the same time, but she will prove us wrong and tell us otherwise. But I'd like to welcome her first onto my show. Hello, Aisha.
Hi, SABIA. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the lovely introduction. So my name is Aisha Khan, and I'm from London. I've been a business coach for a good few years now, for about 4 years. And it all started because I'm a mom and I wanted to be there for my kids. And online business seemed like the best option. But what I'm doing in the process is I'm also helping other women do the same. They have flexible routines.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to you because we want to just introduce the two other guests, and then we'll go into details. So I have Fizza Arshed, who's a clinical psychologist, and she's joined us from Pakistan, and she's been on my show before. So welcome again, Fizza.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, SABIA, for having me on your show. It's really nice being there.
Good to have you again there. And last but not least, I have beautiful, beautiful Syeda Aliza Salik, who's an educator and a teacher, and she's joined us from Bangladesh. So welcome again, Syeda. I'm not sure if you wanted me to call you Syeda or Aliza.
Aliza would be great.
Aliza, okay. Yeah, and Aliza's been on my show before as well. So welcome back again, Aliza.
Thank you very much, SABIA, and it is really great to be here again, and I really feel good to talk about International Women's Day, getting celebrating this.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I do want to now ask Temi. I know you've given us a little introduction, but with your background, I mean, you have what can I say? You've got this background where you've worked for the government sectors. If you can tell us a little bit about that, because that sounds to me it sounds quite daunting, and you know, when you hear the word government, you know, you think all sorts. You know, I mean, I know I do, but if I can ask you that, with your background of what you do, you know, how do you see yourself in being an inspiration or being inspired by people around you? So yes, over to you, Temi.
Thanks, SABIA. So I think I've worked in the civil service for about just under 6 years now. And throughout my career, I've had opportunity to deliver some incredible projects for the UK government on behalf of UK citizens in the UK and around the world. But a lot of the time, you're either the only woman in the room, or you know, the intersectionality of race and age and gender always plays a part. But I think I've had opportunity to work with ministers and senior civil service officials who are very interested in creating change. So I had a chance to work on, you know, the gender pay gap policy, which means companies across the UK had to share their gender disparity data with the government. So it was a chance to see, you know, really, you know, women are still getting paid a lot less than men, but it's how can we work with, you know, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies to start creating change. You know, I get the chance to see policies be established and be delivered through a democratic process. And I've seen some incredible women lead these changes, and at, you know, different ages. So it's always an incredible opportunity to go into work and work with men and women who are passionate, who want to bring about change, not just for this generation, but we're looking 30 years from now, 50 years from now. How can we create a world that's more, you know, gender neutral, that's more gender equal, and has the gender equity to create these changes?
Thank you for that. Now, before I go on to any of my other guests, I would like to take you all over to our young, passionate musician, our songwriter, our singer. She has actually been named most recently as a BBC Introducing Artist of the Month for Coventry and Warwickshire. Way! So yes, so I would love it, and I mean, actually, she's a music representative for BBC New Voices as well. I have to add that on there. And Ace is apparently a genre-defying songwriter. So I would love to hear, and I'm sure our viewers and the rest of our guests here, just a little bit about yourself there, Ace, and a song that you could, you know, would love to hear from you, and what that is about, and you know, why did you choose to use that song as well? So over to you, Ace.
Okay, am I going to be doing one or two songs in this whole
So,
thing.
so you know, we'd like you to do one for now and one.
One
I
for now,
think
one
we could
later.
end it off.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll end my best one with later. So basically, yeah, I'm a songwriter from the West Midlands, based in Coventry. A lot of my work revolves around social issues. So I tend to either cover like very whimsical topics or very serious ones, and those include like racism, knife crime, sexism. You know, all the things that have personally affected me and people around me. And this song is called She Is, and it's from an upcoming EP that I'm working on about the Me Too movement, about Hollywood. It's based on real experiences, some fictional, inspired by true events. And this one, this is obviously a stripped back acoustic version of this song, but this is the title track from that EP called She Is, and it's basically about reclaiming power after it's been taken away from you. And I think that relates to almost the majority of women, because I don't know a single woman that hasn't had some kind of experience, whatever it, be around. And, writing this song at a very difficult point in my life when I was still experiencing it was kind of a way for me to, it was like therapy. It was a way to channel it. It was a way to deal with what I was going through, but also a way to empower myself. So this is called She Is. Down by the river is where she goes when she is running away. The world's a cruel and a lonely place. She is tormented but unafraid. She is the quiet before the storm. She's an explosion waiting to happen. It's deafening, the silence, but she will not be silent. She is power and fury, and everything you should know is coming for you. The wind is howling like her soul, crying out to let her go. The world's a cruel and a lonely place. She is tormented but unafraid. She's the quiet before the storm. She's an explosion waiting to happen. It's deafening, the silence, but she will not be silent. She is power and fury, and everything you should know is coming for you. The earth trembles when she cries. Everything will burn when she flies. Everything will burn when she flies. You could never take away her voice, even when she had no choice. She was a child, but now she's grown. And now she's not alone. She's the quiet before the storm. She's the thunder that will quake you to your bones. It's deafening but silence, but she will not be silent. She is power and fury and everything you should know is coming for you. The earth trembles when we cry. Everything will burn when we fly. Everything will burn. Everything will burn as we rise.
Way! Thank you so much for that. That was amazing. Power Fury. Oh gosh. I mean, ladies, what did you think? It was amazing, right? Thank you for that, Ace. Which, well, I will take everyone over to a beautiful mom of two girls and who is an online marketing person who helps other businesses grow. And her passion lies helping women create financial freedom. So if I can take everyone back over to Aisha. Aisha, what inspires you, and what kind of empowerment and inspiration do you have to give out to our viewers and everyone else? Please care to share with us?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of people would think, okay, she's an entrepreneur, business coach, and she teaches people with other women financial freedom. But in this financial freedom, there's so much that comes into it. So, for example, women always want to be heard. They want to do something that they are passionate about. And this is kind of brings it all together where women inspire women, because a lot of times, we hear, as when I was growing up, there was a lot of women who weren't there, we weren't supporting each other. But I think that has changed a lot over the years. And part of my passion is that I help and empower women to recognize their strengths, their traits, just be the best version of themselves, and get it out there and show their capabilities. And if they can make a decent living out of that, then that's just a bonus. And at the same time, spend time with your loved ones, your spouse, your kids, and do what you love to do, rather than being fixed on like a 24/7 schedule where you have to go to work, you're stuck in traffic, you have to arrange childcare issues. These are the things that I've dealt with myself and I've struggled with, and I see other women struggle with, who want to get out of, for example, a 9-to-5 job, or they're stuck with something that they're not happy in. So they come out and they just it's a way of flourishing and thriving, not just surviving. And that's the crux of what I work in, that level of empowerment that I give. And women love that, just to be able to have that freedom. So freedom can mean lots of different things for different women. But yeah, that's kind of like in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Yeah. I'll come back to you, on another aspect that I'd like you to elaborate on. But can I take everyone over to Aliza? Aliza, what's going on in Bangladesh, with empowering women and inspiring women? please do care to share with us, anything that you may have been involved in, and how do you feel you will help forge justice, dignity, and hope that, we feel that, we have a long way to go yet?
We have a long way to go. Yes, that's true. In Bangladesh, mainly when we just look at, our Prime Minister is a woman herself, and the opposition leader has also been a female. So the Speaker of our Parliament is also another female. Yeah, the situation is actually still, it is developing. In last 10, 15 or 20 years, yes, there was a gradual development in women empowerment. But if you come to the grassroots level, yes, some ladies have been in power and they have been in the center of the central power. But if we come to the grassroots level, the situation is still not a satisfactory thing. The women are still suffering from violence, gender discrimination, and those are the very common scenario in Bangladesh. Yes, the situation is changing. It is changing, definitely, I must say, but still it will take some time to change people's mindset. So still, right. So if, for example, still if a lady is working in any garment sector, in any garment industry, and if she is she is assigned any night duty, so we are just having a negative thoughts, like kind of we are not encouraging this. Why a lady should work at night till late? So still, this type of things are happening, and it will take some time to change.
Yes, yes. I mean, what do you other ladies think about all of that? I mean, can I actually direct it to Fizza to start with, and then ladies, do feel free to have a comment or a view on what you think. Being in Pakistan, Fizza, how is that compared to what Aliza's just said? Is it more or less the same, or what kind of inspiration or empowerment has improved or is happening? And for yourself as well, how do you think these awareness can be raised for things to get better?
It's more or less the same, but it's a little better in Pakistan. The only problem regarding gender equality we face in Pakistan is career and job opportunities. So that is really a problem for women, as they did not get that good positions or lead positions in organizations, and even if they don't get equally paid as men do. And that needs to be addressed. This glass ceiling effect needs to be addressed, and awareness must be created in order to get equal rights and equal job opportunities for the women. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, Ace, could you tell us, your view on what you've just heard, and how do you think maybe some actions need to be taken, because of that? I know even in UK we've had some current affairs of many different currently a few things that are happening which are affecting not only people in a mental health wise way, but it's also angering people for some of the current affairs and things that are happening. Could you say something about that? Can't hear you. Okay.
Is that good? Yeah, gender equality is situationally different wherever you go, even in the UK, even situationally different parts of the UK. It comes down to a lot about education and internal biases. And personally for me, looking at the statistics in general, globally, how only 6 countries give women equal work rights. When you look at the statistics about violence, both in the workplace and in general, and when you look at the actual education system where it starts, very little about consent and respect is taught in primary schools. You know, it's not taught in middle schools. I don't think I even heard the word consent mentioned during my time having sex education in school. And a lot of that is, you know, that should be the core moral value around it, built around it. And while I know there's a lot of different views on what type of sex education should be taught and at what stages, you know, of school, I feel like consent and respect should be taught as early as possible, because it doesn't just mean, you know, sex. Consent and respect should be taught in general, you know, respect for other people's things, personal belongings, bodies, space. Like in general, this needs to be taught at an early stage, because a lot of times later on in adulthood, what we see is a result of toxic behaviors not being called out and dealt with over a long period of time. And this can be even in, you know, groups of friends. If you see a friend displaying some kind of toxic behavior, and then you know, enable it by not calling it out or laughing along and just hoping someone else will call it out, eventually that can evolve into something way more dangerous. And this goes for literally everyone, not just predators, you know, because you can generalize and say that, you know, all predators are this or that, but a lot of the times it's seemingly normal people that have been brought up in a certain way or haven't been brought up in the same way as others, and have these internal biases and behaviors and thought processes in regards to women especially, and that they may not even know that they have it. And a lot of the time we need to seek to educate wherever possible, instead of like instantly vilifying someone, because that's another problem on the internet. Everyone rushes to vilify someone and cancel them and, you know, be like, oh, you're gone, you're out. We're not even going to try to calmly, respectfully educate you and tell you why your behavior is damaging, and that can just provoke even further.
Temi, how do you think, you know, women can be protected?
I don't know if it's the role of women to protect themselves any more than they already do. I think every woman I know, you know, messages a friend to say, I'll let you know when I'm in, or they've got some sort of app to alert someone of their safety. You know, I know from my experience, I remember I lived by myself, and trying to find a flat took months. And my male colleagues just couldn't understand, because I had to view it during the day and I had to view it at night time. I needed to make sure it was close to a train station or close to a bus stop so I can commute easily. I think the onus now has to be on men to do better and have these conversations amongst their peers, their groups that they belong in. I think, you know, a lot of things have been said, oh, imagine if she's your mum or your sister, but I think you need to start seeing women outside of your personal relationships with them. You need to see women for who they are. You need to see them as human beings, and then you see their humanity. And it goes back to, you know, what Ace was saying about consent. You know, once you see their humanity, you respect their consent, you respect their body, you respect their space, their knowledge, what they bring to the table. So I think as women, we do so much to protect ourselves, no matter where you are in the world. I think now more work has to be done to educate men to do better.
Thank you for that. Aisha, I'd like to hear what you think. Do feel free, ladies, to, share your thought, or if you want to have a comment on, you know, you don't agree with somebody, you know, do come in. Aisha, yes, please tell us. I mean, the current affairs, you know, the current situations of some of the women who are going through, you know, some horrendous, you know, situations. You know, I don't even feel, I just don't even switch the news on because of that, you know. Please feel, care to share with us.
This is the level of negativity and the toxic environment that we're living in this day and age, unfortunately. But I can't even say in this day and age, because it's been happening for so long. It's just that more and more women are coming out now, and they feel as if they can be supported amongst, the sisterhood communities that we've got. And we only saw it in London last week with the protests, right? So no, it's a subject very close to me, because I have two daughters myself. I've been through a lot of not so nice experiences in local government offices. I was a civil servant for 15 years, guys, and I have been assaulted. This is me telling you openly, assaulted by men in power and of influence. And I'm talking about top managers and counselors. Obviously, I was in my early 20s. I was very gullible. I was very, very naive. And, I thought it was my fault. And now that when I see lots of women come forward and say, no, I thought it was my fault and I didn't want to speak out. I thought I wore something that wasn't appropriate. I thought I was over friendly. I shouldn't have taken that bonus, overtime work. But hang on a minute, this is happening to women all over the world. Let's just put it this way. This is not happening to women in London or America or in Canada. This is all over the world, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India. You can be dressed in full clothing from head to bottom. If men have the wrong intention, they will look at you the wrong. If men have the wrong intention, they will come and approach you without your consent. That's the reality we live in. So, I just feel really, really sad, and it's so unfortunate that it's happening. But for me, I think it's got to start from home. The education has to reach young, and they say that subconsciously we take in a lot of information from the age of 0 to 8, and if we can change our behavior, change the way we, as parents, say, for example, or adults bringing up small children, if we can show them, educate them, teach them that, boys are equal to girls from a very early age, I think the mindset will change things in the long term. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be a tough job, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic, to change the mindset of men that we currently live with, of my age group, between the 30s and 50s, or even in the 20s. I think it's going to be a really tough job.
Ladies, what do you have to say about that?
So I would I agree and a bit disagree with what Aisha said, because I think there's this emphasis of educating starting at home, but we're actually going to be naive if we think every household is equal. So there's some learnt behavior that are learnt from home. So I think you can't change people's own circumstances because you don't have a lens into that. I think what can be done is, I think Ace mentioned this, around education at school, education throughout the education system. But I also think no one's too old to learn if they willingly choose to learn. So I know within my organization, there's some incredible men who are allies, and allyship comes in so many different forms, who are taking the time to better educate themselves and are then becoming mentors, or being sponsoring women to make sure there's representation at the top. So I think while we can hope that the lessons, that the learnt behaviors from home would help facilitate consent and protection of women, I think the whole education, the workplaces, the sort of things that the rules and regulations that are put in by HR, there's a process to report and investigate abuse, and that even goes into our own legal system, because we do know a large majority of cases that are reported to the police are nothing happens after that report. There's no prosecution, there's no around those reports. So I think we need to actively advocate at every single level to truly drive change.
Fizza, what are the psychological implications? I know, currently we're hearing that it's majority are women that are going through certain things, but there are the men who are going through that as well. What would you say about that? And what psychological implications are these women are going through? And can you say it's the same for men?
Yes, I agree with what Aisha has said, that women they suffer a lot, but it's somehow equal for men as well. A lot of men also go through that abuse or that assault, and there must be employee relations department. The HR usually look into such matters, and these matters must be reported a lot. At a lot of organizations, good organizations, these type of awareness campaigns are run. These types of departments policies are properly made, and it's equally painful for women and men because the emotions are same. I would say that the nature has created men and women as two different, separate, beautiful creations of God with their own strengths and their own weaknesses, and there is no comparison, and we can only say the other one is inferior or superior when we compare them. When they're not having the same abilities, skills, we cannot compare them. But we have distorted this beautiful creation of nature by creating inequality, by comparing men and women, and that is how unfortunately this gender inequality is persisting in all parts of the world with different level of intensities. So yeah, I agree that the men also suffer from this inequality at some areas, and women do, but majority women have to go through these things.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I just touch
Aliza,
on, yeah, I
yeah,
was just
go
gonna,
on.
yeah,
Sorry.
touch on what I was saying about education starts at home. The reason why I say that is because I was brought up in a very conservative family, and I've seen my own mother treat me very differently to my brother or my brothers. So, and this is what, it's not uncommon in our South Asian communities. So I guess that's from my personal experience. And also, I was telling you ladies earlier how at the workforce, when I went for my first job as well, I was deemed as somebody incapable because I had a newborn child. And obviously I had to go back to work because I had a mortgage to pay, I had bills to pay, I had, childcare fees to pay. So I needed to go back to work. And there I was at the panel. Now, they loved my experience, but when it came to me saying, yes, I have a child of this, as young as 2, it was frowned upon. So, how do I deal with that? How does a woman deal with that at this point in time when she's so desperate for a job? And, you're just looked differently. It's something that they call unconscious bias. So they don't even realize they're doing it, but they're doing it because you're a woman, because you're a mum. So they just feel as if you're not equal to men who are, and we can do just as good or even better job than they can. So I just wanted
Well,
to
it sounds like, obviously there are different battles everyone has, and, something, which is, like you said, it's frowned upon. There'll be others who'll be seeing it, differently otherwise. I wanted to ask Aliza, basically, I mean, where Aisha has mentioned that, it starts from the home, as an educator for yourself, in Bangladesh, how do you see that, and what kind of inspiration or empowerment can we learn from it?
So right, I was hearing Aisha. So it is a very common picture in Bangladesh actually. So the sons are really treated in a different way than their daughters. Definitely, the mothers treat their sons in a different way. It is a very, very common scenario in Bangladesh. So yes, as an educator, definitely I do have a very important role to play. So when I am working as a primary early years teacher, I am working now. I am teaching in grade KG1. So definitely, I think it should start from there. When I am working with my little kids, so definitely, so gender equality. Those are the things we should make them. Being an educator, I should make them understand that both both my male and female students, boys and girls, they are equal, and they should work as a team, And so this is how I think I should, participate in awareness raising. We all have to play, role over here in raising this awareness. The media has got a very big role to play. The government has a role to play by ensuring policies, implementing laws, definitely. And the most important part, we teachers and educators can, participate in raising the awareness.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah,
in education, we have got the most important role to play.
yeah, yeah. Temi, anything, you could say, because I mean, what I'm understanding is obviously different cultures have, and the backgrounds are making a difference in what is common that happens, to the different countries that we are in. Is there anything different that you can add on to that? I know you had a little disagreement with Aisha, on that. Anything you can add on to, your view on that?
No, I think, I come from a West African background, and it's exactly the same. My mum would be like, come to the kitchen, and my brother would be in the, living room watching TV, and like, you need to learn how to cook for your husband. I'm like, who is he? Where is he? I'm sure he needs to cook. But I think a friend of mine summarized this very well, and she said over the decades, men have just stayed the same, but women have been taught, and we're constantly being taught, whether it's to own your own business, make sure you have your own money or your own, rich for the start, you can become a CEO, and women are constantly changing whatever environment they're in, whatever background they're from, what we want more. But the same hasn't been done for men. We see women get to the top.
Yeah.
We've seen incredible women get to the top, and they push that ladder down to get more women in. But that same pressure hasn't been put on men to learn more, to do better. So I think, culture, the beauty about culture is that it's not stagnant. This was said previously, patriarchy affects both men and women, and for men we see it in suicide rates, and but I think for women we've done so much to be better, and I think, again, like I said previously, the onus now is on men to do better. I remember last summer we had the whole sort of Black Lives Matter, and a number of Black friends and colleagues were being asked by our white counterparts saying, what can we do? I think men need to start asking those questions now, like, what can we do? And the thing is, there's some incredible men out there who have done the work, who have written the books, who have done the studies. So men need to pick up those
men who can cook as well. I'm sure they're out there
men
somewhere.
who can cook. And the funny thing about cooking is all the best chefs are men.
That's another important point that I want to highlight, because I was having this debate with my friend who's a chef, because there was I think it was Burger King or KFC, there was a famous brand that tweeted out, "Women belong in the kitchen," and it was they were using that point of women belong in the kitchen, that sexist phrase, to highlight the fact that there aren't enough female chefs in high positions, because a lot of the time they aren't given those roles based on the fact that they're women. And this translates through so many sectors, as a musician, like that. It's something that isn't really talked about a lot, is how the industry only gives women opportunities when it comes to things like, so for example, all female festivals, right? They don't see how that in itself is problematic if they're only willing to book female musicians for only female festivals and not just the main festivals and just the main ones. You're not giving these women the opportunities the same way that you would their male counterparts, only when you segregate them into a category that's all women. And like you were saying before about how we have to educate both in our homes but also mainly in schools, we also have to look at certain features and laws that don't protect women or apply to women that people aren't even educated about. For example, safety belts. 47% of women are more likely to be injured or die from car crashes because the safety features were designed for men. And when it comes to things like mental health with autism, all the original studies done on autism were done on men, not women, which means that now females are often like, it's difficult to get diagnosed because it presents differently in women than it does to men, and usually they'll be told that they have traits of autism or that they're on the spectrum, but they won't be able to be diagnosed specifically because they don't present the same way that males would. And this applies to so many different areas of just life in general that aren't looked about or educated, because it's not within the system. It's not commonly known facts because they're not presenting these facts. You know, no one's teaching people about them. So how can we address something that's not taught about?
It's even something as little as the temperature in offices are made for men, because they've considered the fact that men are likely to wear shirts and a blazer. Whereas a woman, if you're wearing, you know, a dress, if you go into any office, you're going to see a woman with a blanket or a throw because of just how cold it gets in the summer. And they're like, oh, it's been centrally set. And you just like, you know, even as teachers, you see teachers doing the teaching, but when it comes to head teachers and the decision makers, it's mainly men. So but I think,
is that more in the government sectors then, Temi?
Say that again, sorry?
Is that more or less happening in the government sector jobs, it sounds like?
Within the civil service, I know there was a lot of work to get women at more senior levels. So I think, you know, we have a 50-50 in terms of permanent secretaries who are the equivalent of CEOs for government departments. But I know in Parliament, we still have a lot of work to do to get to that 50-50 ratio. I think in the world, I think there's a few countries like Rwanda who are doing incredible jobs in having 50-50 parliament, but there's a number of campaigns working, you know, to make sure the ratio in parliament is 50-50. But in the civil service, I think at senior level, we do see a close 50-50 ratio in terms of permanent secretaries. But then what we then don't see is racial diversity. So don't see, you know, I was in a department where we literally only had no black senior civil servant in my government department, but then I think the onus again is on people from those communities to have to fight for that change. You know,
sure. Well, we are coming to the end of our show very, very shortly. I would like to ask a couple of fun questions, if I can, to you all. What is something that not many people know about you? And I'm going to ask that to Fizza.
There are a lot of things actually that we don't want people to know about us, and there are some things, some talents of art that we underestimate, and we don't want people to know. But so I believe that I am also a very good writer. And I've written a couple of poems and plays, and that too secretly. So that is something which people don't know. And I think the field that I belong to, psychology and arts, it's because of that field. I'm more into arts, poetry, and that is very not known by people.
Okay. Aisha, what are you most passionate about?
Oh, okay. I love my business. I love my job. I love my work. And I just love getting up in the morning to do what I'm doing at the moment. So it's good. I like the day-to-day things that I do that fulfills me. You know, the stuff that lights you up, that makes you think, this is good. I'm doing a good job of it. So that kind of thing, it just fills me up. Yeah.
Okay. So that's your most passionate thing.
That's my passion. Whatever I do it with all heart, and I have to. Otherwise, I can't be confident enough, and I don't feel successful. Yeah.
Okay. Ace, what makes you laugh out loud?
Well, very specific type of comedy. I've got a very dry, specific sense of humor that comes from my parents, because they're old school, you know, and a lot of what I'm into comedy wise is shows from the 50s to the 80s, you know. So I didn't grow up around modern humor, which means a lot of it is lost on me. But like old school, you know, humor is what does it for me. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I love a bit of slapstick.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. Aliza, what was your favorite thing as a kid?
Well, I used to love reading storybooks, and still I do. I used to do it, still I do love reading stories. So this is
Okay.
the only thing I like doing in my leisure period, though it's very little time for me. But whenever
Okay.
I can make time, I just go for reading storybooks.
Okay. And Temi, last but not least, do you have a favorite TV show or a favorite book, maybe? I don't know.
Ooh. Favorite TV show it came out last year. It's called I May Destroy You. And I
Wow.
think that's honestly one of the most incredible TV
Ace
shows.
seems to know about it.
Iconic. Absolutely iconic.
It's absolutely brilliant, and is written by Michaela Cole, who's a young British woman, and I think everyone should go and watch that.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like, from what you've all said, there is something there that you feel that you can give out to the viewers, I mean, one last pointer from each one of you about how you feel that, they could be inspired, or, something that you've done that they can take it as an inspiration. I'll start with Fizza.
I'll talk about women equality. That is a topic we have been discussing a lot about it today. I think incredible things happen when women support each other. So that is one thing which should be drawn from today's conversation, that all the wonderful women in different areas of life, excelling in different areas, they must support the other women and create space for them, share their workload, and encourage them in order to highlight their skills and abilities. So we should work together in order to be inspired by one another.
Thank you. Aisha, if we can...
I would say one thing, and that is based on what we've discussed today. Okay. Treat women with respect. And if they say no, they mean no. And just talk about and speak about women respectfully throughout. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Aliza.
Yes, what I would like to say on the basis of today's discussion. So yes, we are discussing about celebrating International Women's Day. Definitely, throughout the world, women are not being treated the way they should be. So it is us. We should make a stand. We should learn first how to respect ourselves. We should take a stand. We should love ourselves first, and it should start from us, I do believe. So if we love ourselves, if we respect ourselves, definitely we can expect earning respect from others as well. So first thing,
Brilliant.
we should love ourselves. We should learn how to respect ourselves.
Definitely.
We
Yes.
should take our
Yes.
stand while decision making. We should take some decisions. We should be bold enough to face all the hurdles. So this is how I think we
Brilliant.
can.
Yes. And Temi, last couple of words from you.
I would say mentor women, sponsor women, invest in women-owned businesses. If you are in a position to create opportunities for women, make sure they're in the room, make sure they're at the table making decisions. Just make sure they're in there. And I think, again, I would say make sure you invest in women led businesses. So whether you're a venture capitalist or just make sure there's funding there for women businesses.
Brilliant. Yes. And I think we will leave with Ace to tell us about her last number that she will kindly play for us. And I think that will be our inspiration and empowerment from Ace. If you can just tell us a little bit about what it is that you will be performing and what that means.
Yeah, so this song relates to a little bit what I was talking about earlier within schools, because this is based on a true story. So I don't know if any of you remember this or if it was part of your school experience, but when I was a kid in primary school, there was a game called Kiss Chase. And basically all the boys would chase after the girls, they'd pin them down and they'd kiss them. And I didn't experience this until I moved to where I am now. I used to live in West London, and we were a lot more physical in our reactions over there than in this little suburban town. So when, you know, I'd never experienced this. So when the boys were playing kiss chase, I had no idea what was going on. One of the lads pinned me down, kissed me. I didn't like it. So I whacked him in the schnoz, and I got told off for it, for defending myself. And I found that this happens a lot with girls. They always get told off for fighting back, but there's no responsibility or accountability for the boys playing this game. And the teachers would always be like, oh, boys will be boys, you know, it's just a game, it's just all fun. But no, these are the toxic behaviors that we're trying to, you know, prevent from being instilled, because this completely it crosses boundaries, it crosses you know, personal space. Consent is not anywhere, you know, it's the opposite of consent. This whole game is teaching girls that if boys pull your pigtails, if they punch you, that means they fancy you, when instead we should be saying, use your words and use respect and use your voice to display affection, not physical violence. And so this song is called Don't Kiss Me, and it's based on that experience that I had in primary school, and it's dedicated to all the boys who didn't take no for an answer.
Yay.
Georgie, porgy, pudding and pie kissed a girl to make her cry. Instead she sucker punched him in the eye. And Georgie, porgy wonders why there's little girls lining up outside his door, signing a petition to make all the little boys listen when we say, don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Let that shiner serve as a reminder. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Little girls are nice until you make them tell you twice. Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife but couldn't keep her. Put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well, until she had enough of that toxic kind of love. Sick of being pushed around, she burned that pumpkin to the ground. Now Peter's been locked up instead. He should have listened when she said, don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Let that shiner serve as a reminder. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Little girls are nice until you make them tell you twice. What little girls made of? What little girls made of? Sugar is fun, all things nice. What little girls made of? What little girls made of? Ribbons and laces with pretty faces. What little girls made of? What little girls made of? Ripped jeans and tattoos, piercings so taboo. What little girls made of? What little girls made of? Fury and fire, love and fire. That's what little girls are made of. Yeah. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Let that shiner serve as a reminder. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Don't kiss me, I don't want you to. Little girls are nice until you make them tell you twice. Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing. Well done. Thank you all for coming onto my show, and I do hope that you'll stay in touch, and we can come back again and create another wonderful show. That was amazing. Thank you, Ace. I hope everyone enjoyed that.
That was just sound based on Alexis nursery rhymes, because that's another thing I was going to say.
Yeah, Georgie, Porgy, Pudding and Pie. I remember that. Yeah.
Turn it into an
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you again, ladies. And it's been wonderful to have you all on this show. And you've all been amazing sharing your stories with us today. So thank you. Okay. Okay, so International Women's Day. It's annually held on March the 8th, we know. And it's to celebrate women's achievements worldwide. It's throughout history and across nations. Women's rights are human rights. For all women in all their diversities, the day also marks a call for action, for celebrating women's equality. It's also known as United Nations Day, for women's rights and international peace. What I will leave everyone with is own your behaviors, master your communications, and determine your success. Believe in unity and stay united and stay safe. Follow VodTalk and see you again soon.